What's up? What's up? What's the Weatherman here with a brand new video for you guys? I appreciate you guys checking it out. I know it's been about 3 months since the last video, I believe, and I'm sorry for the delay, but I'm going to be blessing your feed for the rest of this week, the rest of this month, the rest of this year, for the rest of the time. So please be patient with me. I guess I'll get right into the disruptions. I play about 10 of them. So let's start with Book of Moon. We can target a face-up monster on the field, change them to face-down defense position. This is going to be great because this is going to be our Forbidden Lance. This is going to be our 3 extra copies of Forbidden Chalice, and this is also going to be our quick play Canadi as well as just standard Canadi a majority of the time. This is also going to be helping us reset our fusion as well as Chalice, which I'll talk about what I mean by reset our fusion after I talk about Chalice. Chalice lets us target a face-up monster on the field until the end of the turn. It gains 400 attack, but its effects are negated. The reason why this is good is because our monster has 2600 attack, and it reduces itself by 2600 attack to pop a card on the field. And by us popping a card in the main phase, we can activate Chalice during the battle phase or during the end phase and negate our effects, so thus bringing our effects back in the next turn. We'll be back to 2600 attack, looking good, ready to pop more cards on the field. Next, we can talk about our 2 semi-limits, which is going to be World Legacy Clash and Treacherous. I don't want to play 2 Treacherous because this is a control deck, and I'm a firm believer in only play the amount of cards that you can activate. I can't activate double Treacherous, so I see no reason in wasting deck space on a second Treacherous. World Legacy Clash is going to let us banish a face-up monster that we control, target a face-up monster that they control, and reduce them by the attack and defense equal to the original attack and defense of the monster that we banished. The reason why this is great because the keywords are original attack and defense. If we pop a card, thus making our fusion 0 attack, when we activate World Legacy Clash, we will still reduce them by 2600 attack because it says original attack and defense. So that is actually really solid, as well as the fact that when we come back to the field, we're going to have our regular stats back, which means we can pop cards again because we're going to be 2600 attack again. Next, we've got Treacherous. Treacherous, if we have no traps engraved, which we will because we only play 1, you're going to target 2 monsters on the field, destroy those 2 targets. It does not help us reset our fusion, but it is a great disruption that is just going to help you in so many games. If you don't have Treacherous, you can definitely just play double World Legacy Clash. That's what I was playing for the longest bit of my ranked run. Our last 2 disruptions we're going to talk about is a hand trap, actually. Our 2 Soldier Gaia, the Fierce Knights. I see a lot of people playing 1. I see no reason to play 1. I think that is just fundamentally awkward and just fundamentally wrong to not play 2 copies. I can understand not playing 3. But it has a quick effect that you can tribute a dragon type fusion and special summon this card from our hand. And if it is special summoned, we can target a attack position card on the field, either ours or theirs, and move them to face up defense position. This is going to be really good to keep us alive, as well as it has a second effect which gives us more consistency. We can tribute it to add a level 7 or higher warrior type monster, which now we can get into the main combo pieces of the deck. The level 7 warrior type monster we're going to be searching for is going to be our Gaia the Magical Knight, which if we control no monsters, or if our opponent controls a 2300 attack or higher monster, which is going to be easier to remember because he has 2300 attack, so just think if they're as big as you, or if you have no monsters, you can normal summon this guy without tribute, and you can special summon a level 5 dragon type monster from your hand or from the graveyard. The monster we're going to be summoning is our next combo piece, the second main piece to be able to fuse into our ace monster. When this guy is normal or special summon, it's going to pop a field spell, so please hit no to that effect unless there's actually a field spell you want to pop. I cannot count the amount of times I've seen people pop their own field spell. That is like the hugest, biggest misplay you can make in this deck, is get rid of your own field spell, especially people like me who play 1 copy, and I will not play a second copy. I'm sorry, I just won't do it. But you're going to be activating his ignition effect, which is going to be the fusion summon from your extra deck using monsters you control as fusion material, which is going to be this guy and our Gaia the Magical Knight to go into our ace monster, which I haven't fully went over his effect. You do know that during the main phase, as a quick effect, our turn or their turn, we can reduce ourselves by 2600 attack to pop any card on the field. What you may not have known is that if we destroy any card by battle, we gain 2600 attack, which means that after we destroy a monster, I believe it will be 5200 after destroying our first card by battle, and then I believe it is 78. Which does happen a decent amount of times, and once you get to that size, oh boy, it's going to be an issue. The other fusion we have, our backup guy, is going to be our Sky Galloping Gaia the Dragon Champion. I actually don't remember their names because they all become Gaia the Dragon Champion as soon as they hit the field. But when it is summoned, you can add a Spiral Spear from your deck or grave to your hand. I personally do not play it. It is a continuous spell that does give you piercing, and when you do piercing, you can draw 2 cards, discard 1 card. It's not a bad card. I just personally would rather run more disruptions, more ways to reset my fusion, more ways to stop my opponent from doing things than just draw 2 cards and discard 1 card. I just don't think it's worth it in the long run. But its other effect is going to be that when we attack a monster, when an attack is declared, we can non-target change the battle position of that monster, which means anything we can target, say a Saber Dancer, say Azure is on the field, we can simply change its battle position. So if it's a Azure, right, we don't want to just summon another Blue Eyes. We summon this guy, we attack into Azure. Because of our field spell, which I haven't explained to you yet, they can't activate any they can't activate any cards or effects because it's the battle phase when we control a fusion. We're going to be moving their Azure to attack position, and because it's 2,500 attack and we're 2,600 attack, we're going to beat over it. And it's going to be gone. No special summoning of Blue Eyes, no special summoning of Spirit. Their monster is gone. Next, we can talk about our Flare. You're probably asking, where is the Dragon's Mirror? I have a lot of reasons to not play Dragon's Mirror. One, like I said, this is a control deck. I want to play more disruptions. I want to feel safe. This is a control deck. Second, it's not searchable, which means I have to play 2 to 3 copies of it, which means I have to play less copies of other cards that I would rather see in my hand. Also, it banishes both my fusion material. To use Dragon's Mirror, I would have to banish my Guide of Magical Knight and my Curse of Dragonfire, which, as with Flare, I only have to banish my Guide of Magical Knight, and I can also banish my Soldier the Gaia. Soldier Gaia the Fierce Knight, because it only requires a light and dark. Thus meaning that when I want to fuse again, I only need to grab my Magical Knight. I don't need to get both pieces in my hand again. Next, we can talk about the 2 field spells we play, our Gateway to Chaos and our Galloping Gaia. So I did tell you earlier that as long as our fusion is on the field, either one of the 2, they cannot activate cards or effects during the battle phase, which means if they chose to not activate their back row until the battle phase, they are going to be sad because they cannot activate it during the battle phase while we control our fusion monster, as well as the fact that any hand traps cannot be activated. Kiteroid, Spirit Karibo, regular Karibo, Battle Boxer Veil, none of these can be activated because they cannot activate cards or effects during the battle phase. Do not let this confuse you. For negate effects, any continuous effect will still be able to, work. It is still going to do its effect. We only say that cards and effects cannot activate. It does not stop continuous effects. The next effects of it is going to be really solid. This is why I say you essentially have 8 copies of the monsters in the deck, is because you can reveal a Gaia the Fierce Knight from your hand and add a level 5 dragon type monster, or reveal a level 5 dragon type monster to add a Gaia to Fierce Knight. So we essentially will reveal a Gaia the Magical Knight or a Soldier Gaia to add to our hand, a Darkflare Dragon or a Curse of Dragonfire. We can do that, or vice versa, which is revealing the Dragonfire or the Flare to add Magical Knight or a Soldier Gaia. I think we've essentially wrapped up the deck list. You're not going to really summon these very often. It doesn't really matter what's here. I know a lot of people play Adrius, which is a rank 5 that can pop a face-up card in the field. You're not going to summon him very often either. I'll tell you a couple cards you can replace Book with, because I know that's one of the first questions you're asking. I would say your deck list could look something like this. Maybe you have MST. I would say that's optimal. Maybe you don't have this second trash. You can run Legacy Clash. Maybe you don't have MST. Just go up on these. Maybe you run 1 Dragon's Mirror. It's not in my favorite because I don't like the card. Maybe your build looks something like this. I would say that Forbidden Chalice is 100% mandatory. Book of Moon is not mandatory. It is great because there's 3 more copies of Forbidden Chalice, but it is not mandatory. So I guess now we can actually get into some gameplay and show you how the deck really operates and how to play it properly. Let's go! I'm gonna go into a replay, just loading up a couple replays that I played. And some of these may have been from earlier games. I do recall I made some questionable decisions in a couple games. And I'll explain to you what you should have done. Alright, I believe this was against Invoked Magician Girls, right? So we're going to look at her hand, right? So we have Gateway to Chaos. We've got pretty much everything right. I'm not gonna activate the field spell to add anything because there's no real reason. Whatever I add to my hand, I'm just gonna return it back to the deck when I activate the skill, so it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna return Chalice. I'm not gonna return my combo piece, and I'm not gonna return my other disruption as well as consistency. So we're gonna return Gateway to Chaos back to the deck. Bam, now that we've got it, all we got to do is reveal our Gaia, search for him. We could have also revealed our Soldier Gaia. It did not matter. Either way, we revealed to search for it. We're going to special summon. We're going to hit no to his own summon effect and then activate his ignition effect to fusion summon. We're going to bring out the ace monster, Magical Knight of Dragons. Set Chalice. I do believe that I turned my toggle off because I always turn my toggle off when I have quick plays in my hand, and I forgot to turn it back on. That's the reason I didn't negate his Alistair. However, I don't think it really mattered. But that was technically a misplay. I had forgot to turn my toggle back to auto. So he summons his Silent Magician. He goes into his thing. Either way, it didn't matter. We're going to pop him. He attempted to go into the battle phase. I guess after he adds the Alistair. Into the main phase, I'm going to pop. See, he's going to try to attack me. Another thing I could have done was activated Chalice to just to just make myself 3,000 attack. But I kind of wanted to save the Chalice. He had another Alistair in his hand. I wanted to make sure that I had the ability to negate that next Alistair. So that was essentially the decision I made. You want to think as much as you can about the next turn. We already know he has an Alistair, so there was no reason to reset myself and then having him summon this 3,500 attack beef stick that would have, we would have ended up having to use both cards. Well, actually, no, we wouldn't have, because in the battle phase, it wouldn't have happened. But regardless, we wanted to save this Chalice for Alistair. Oh, and another misplay I actually made that I just realized looking back on this. What I should have done, when I had the flare in my hand, I should have revealed him for the field spell and added another copy of the Soldier Gaia. That way I had essentially the same exact board that he just went against, which was Chalice and my Soldier Gaia in my hand. However, it doesn't matter. We're going to negate the Alistair this time because we didn't forget to turn our toggle back on. And bam. Negate it. What is he going to do? We're going to pop whatever else he summons. He's just going to suicide. Just going to suicide. It's the easiest way to do it. Easiest way to handle it. All right, so easy. We've got duplicate Magical Knight, so we're just going to return the Magical Knight for the skill so that we can search for, get our field spell to the field. Now we're going to reveal him, add our Curse of Dragonfire to hand. And yes, I always turn my toggle off. I wanted to be as hard as possible for them to read the delays in my hand. You can technically still tell if there's a quick play, but I just always turn my toggle off just to be safe and have you have the least amount of information about it. All right, so we set book and MST. We're looking pretty good. We've got 2 disruptions, a pop and a flip. All right. Tributes to Summon Sinatus. Right, and since he is equipping, we are going to flip him down. We're just going to get rid of Koos as well. Bam. Going to reveal him, search for our flare, right? Because essentially every monster in our deck is searchable. Gonna banish our 2 material. And I know I said I hate doing this, but I knew this was game. This was Dragunity. I don't have very much. I did, however, not want to take the chance of tributing my fusion to attack again just in case he had a hand trap. My field spell only says that they can't activate cards or effects while I control Gaia the Dragon Champion. So if I would have tributed him, I wouldn't have had a Gaia the Dragon Champion. This last game, I believe, was against Harpies. We actually have a really good matchup versus Harpies. I have actually yet to lose to a Harpy player yet, like with this deck. This actually has a really good matchup versus them. Just too much to do and too much consistency as well. Harpy's Hunting Ground. So these are one of the decks that we can actually get the ability to pop their field spells. We're going to actually activate Curse of Dragonfire's effect this time. Notice how we lost no card advantage, right? And we returned Curse of Dragonfire, but we're going to add Curse of Dragonfire back. So what card did we lose? What card did we put back in the deck? Did you notice? I didn't notice. It looks like we had a 5-card opening hand. We're going to special summon Curse of Dragonfire, pop the Harpy's Hunting Ground. Bam, get rid of it. Now we can activate his ignition effect and fuse into our Gaia the Dragon champion. Setting a World Legacy Clash as well. So we're pretty good. He uses Channeler. I read quick plays in his hand, so I didn't really want to just activate early because I felt like it was probably a Swallows. I do pop now just because I want him to kind of get rid of as many of the spells as he can. He would have just been able to fuse and activate his other stuff to bounce me. I just want to be able to do stuff before he puts me in an awkward spot. Bam, he's going to draw 2 now. And I'm pretty sure he's going to activate to attempt to bounce me. Yep, and we're going to activate our Legacy Clash. Remember, it uses our original attack, so we are going to reduce him by 2600 attack, which is all the attack that he has, as well as 2100 defense, which is all the defense that he has. So, perfect card. That Cyber Slash is now nothing but an effect monster still that can bounce once per turn. So he's going to add his Pot of Greed back to his hand, as well as setting 2 cards. I didn't see the quick play just yet, so I do pretty much. But did he activate Swallows? Yeah, I didn't see the quick play yet. So at this point, I felt like he still had one. He books me. I flip back up. The fact that he chose to not bounce me, I just knew he had another one, so it was just like I didn't really care. It's like he's got some other way to bounce. Let's just make him do it. And I was also extremely positive that he had a Swallow's Nest set. That is also why I'm playing this confidently. He's already used his 1 bounce, and I felt like it was either Swallow's Nest or Forbidden Lens. So I knew that I really had no reason to care about this card at this point. Fuse again, we're going to summon our Darkflare. Bam, gonna beat over it. I think that might have been a bug where it said it had 2600 attack because the Cyber Slash should have had 0, and that's the reason that we beat over it and dealt 2600. It might have been like a visual lag. So he's gonna activate his Swallow's Nest, which I kind of felt like he had. Summon another Channeler. And I've already used my pop at this point, so it's like, oh, what do I do? You know, what do I do? He's in a great position. He's about to Cyber Slash. He's even got the Egotist to bounce me again. What am I going to do? He activates. He's going to draw 2. He's going to return his Cyber Slash to the extra deck as well as some combo pieces so that he can draw 2 cards and bounce me back. I'm going to activate my Soldier Guy, the Fierce Knight, special summon him from my hand, and target his Cyber Slash, thus putting him in defense. Summons another Harpy into defense. Ends his turn. So we're looking great. We're looking good. We're going to activate our effect. Search. We're going to kind of tempt him to use his thing as well as just search. We know that it doesn't matter if he bounces this, and bam. Just getting that extra card out of the deck. We're going to get that card advantage. I don't want to draw a Curse of Dragonfire. I'd rather draw another book, another Chalice, a Treacherous, you know, something of more value to me. We're going to summon our last fusion from the deck, I believe. We are. And we're going to summon Flare back onto the field. We're going to attack Bam. Now we're going to gain 2600. Flare is going to attack. And now we're in a great spot again. He has to deal with the same board again. Can he deal with it? He cannot. He just sets in his turn. We could have just popped and attacked. Much rather just attack and attack. And that's game. And that is definitely the deck list, man. This is definitely fun. I'm going to have another video for you guys later on. I am doing the DD video, so actually be on the lookout for that. So I'll see you, man. Weatherman, Team 6K out.